I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. In this video, we are going to take 5 examples and we will understand how do we sketch graph of a line. So we'll consider 5 examples. And we are going to graph in 2 different methods, one using table of values. And the second using slope intercept. Now, slope intercept concept is a very efficient way of graphing, but we should know both the methods. So here is the very first one, question number 25 from our series with 60 questions on lines. Sketch graph of line y equals to 2x plus 1. So the first method, table of values. Let's make a table here which relates x and y values. So in a table, make columns. The best values to choose are -2, -1, 0, 1 and 2. So in the first column we'll write x, and in the second we'll evaluate the value of y, which is given to us as 2x plus 1. So if x is equal to -2, so these are the key values, -2, -1, 0, 1 and 2. Perfect. So if I substitute -2, then the y value will be 2 times -2 plus 1. 2 times -2 is -4 plus 1, and that gives you -3, correct? So once you have this value, you can write the coordinate point. The coordinate points are x and y. Always x comes before y. So x is along the horizontal axis and y is along the vertical axis. So we now have our very first point, which is x value of -2 and y value of -3. On a coordinate point, I can put -2, -3 as a point right there. Makes sense, correct? So x value of -2, y value of -3. Perfect. So I hope this is absolutely clear. Let's continue with this process, substituting x as -1 this time, and then calculating the value of -2. So that will give you -1, and a coordinate point now is at x equals to -1, we have y value of -1. So here at -1, -1, we have the second point on our graph. You will notice that as we go down, we are going down by +2. Do you see that? So we are adding 2 each time since the slope is 2. So that helps you to understand that your calculation is correct. So let's calculate for 0. So when I substitute x equals to 0, I get 0 plus 1, which is equal to +1. Now with 2, we get what? So we get 2 plus 1, which is 3. And with 2, we get 2 times 2 plus 1, which is 4 plus 1, which is 5. So you notice that these values are increasing by 2 each time. Do you see that? So it is +2 each time, simply because the gradient or the slope is 2. And now our points, as you can see here, will go from 0 to 1, right? And from 1 we have 3, and at 2 we have the value of 5. Easy to calculate and also to infer, right? The slope, it helps us to understand by how much the points are increasing. So what we notice here is that, sorry, this point should have been at -1, -1 right there. So that is -1, -1. So at 0, we have 1, right? So as we move right, we are moving 2 points up. Do you see that? As we move right, we put 2 points move up. So these are the coordinate values which we just calculated. Now connecting them with a straight line gives you the solution, right? So the graph of the line will be what? Just connect them with a straight line. You can put arrows on the two ends to indicate that the line extends on both the sides to infinity. Make sense? So that is how you can actually calculate points which could be plotted on the coordinate plane and connected with a solid line with arrows on both the sides to make a line. And this is the line for y equals to 2x plus 1. So that method helps you to sketch with the help of table of values. Now let us see how do we sketch this graph by using the equation itself. See, the equation is given to us as y equals to 2x plus 1. Now, if x equals to 0, in that case y is equals to 2 times 0 plus 1, which is 1. We call this point as a y-intercept. Y-intercept clearly means where the line crosses y-axis. So y-intercept is at always x equals to 0 and calculate the y value, which in this case is this. So in general, when I write an equation y equals to mx plus b, in that case we know that b is called the y-intercept, is the value of y-intercept. Is that clear to you? So when this equation is given to plot the graph, we can actually definitely plot y-intercept first, which is right there, 0, 1, right? So this is the value which is y-intercept. Now let's look into the critical information about gradient or slope given to us. Now slope in this case is what? Well, slope given by letter m is rise over run. And the value 2 in this equation represents the slope, right? So that is the slope, the value of m. It means you go up by 2 and run is what? Well, think like this, run is 1, right? So rise of 2 and run of 1. So what I try to say here is that from the given point y-intercept, you can go up by 2. That is rise of 2, right? And then you can run of 1, right? So this is run of 1. And you reach the next point. You get the idea. Similarly, you can sketch and get to more points, right? So again, rise of 2 and run and get a point, right? So once you get these points, you can always connect them using a straight line, and that will give you the equation graph, right? So connect it. You see that. So again, we have sketched the line without any calculations. Right from the equation, you can read this y-intercept and the slope. So first check your y-intercept, then rise over run gives you the next set of points. Keep on doing it, right? And get more points. You need at least 3 points to sketch a line. Perfect. So I hope this concept is also absolutely clear. Now let's take up the next example. It is more for your practice. I will actually like you to pause the video at this stage, get the table of values, and then sketch the graph. Well, in case you want to learn from me, you can always send an email on the address given. So this time we have the equation of line as y equals to minus 3x plus 5. So once you get the equation, you should also understand how the graph of line is going to look like. Since the slope is negative, definitely the line will be going down from left to right. So as I said, let's take some critical values. Good values normally by default to take are minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1 and 2. So I normally will prefer to start with 0. Easy calculations, right? So y is equals to minus 3. If I substitute 0 here plus 5, I get the y-intercept, which is 5. So I'm going to mark this point 5 on the graph. So that is this particular point. Clear? Now, if I take 1, or let's say 2, I'm just doing a shortcut. So minus 3, and I substitute 2 here plus 5. What do I get? I get minus 6 plus 5, and that is minus 1. So I have the second point, which is at 2 minus 1, right? So at 2, I have a value which is minus 1. I could connect these 2 points with the ruler and sketch, right? So first we got 0, 5 as the coordinate point, and then we got 2 and minus 1, right? So you also see that calculation of the points is very simple. You can always do it, right? And then connect with a straight line. Using our method of slope and intercept, you can actually combine the two, right? Just to check. So your slope is minus 3, right? So we have m of minus 3. It means go down by 3 and right by 1. So let's do that now. So I'm just combining both the methods learned. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1 right, so we get a point. You see that? Then again 1, 2, 3, and 1 right, we get a same point which we calculated. That means both methods work perfectly fine. So I'll leave this exercise for you now. Substitute the values of x, calculate y, and once you have these values, and then you connect these points to sketch the graph, right? So put a ruler and sketch the graph, right? I hope it makes sense. So it is as simple as that. Similarly, continue with the other equations. Now in this equation, I have m value, which is a fraction. So let me rewrite the equation, which is y equals to minus 5 by 2x plus 4, right? So how will you sketch this graph? Well, we have the y-intercept, and y-intercept is at 4, right? So it is x equals to 0 always, and y equals to 4. You could write this as 0, 4 also, which means that is the y-intercept, clear. Now let's look into the slope. So the slope or the gradient is given to us as equal to minus 5 over 2. That means this is like rise of minus 5, right? And we have a run of plus 2. Means from this point, I go down 5 units, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, correct? And then run of 2 means 1, 2. So I get my next point. You get the idea. So that is how I can get the next point. Well, let's take one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 right. 1, 2, and you get this point also. So connecting these 3 points, I could actually sketch a line. Does it make sense to you? Perfect. So let me just do that. So my lines are kind of rough because I'm just not using a ruler, right? But they are good enough to show you the procedure. Perfect. So that is how we can connect the points, right? So connect points. Remember to put arrows on both sides. Perfect. So we have sketched this time a line without a slope of minus 5 over 2, right? And a y-intercept of 4. Makes sense. So I hope this process is coming clear to you. So you can use combination, and when you are an expert on sketching lines, you could just straight away go and use slope and intercept. So in this exercise now, we have an equation which is y equals to minus 4 over 3x minus 3. So we have y equals to minus 4 over 3x minus 3. I would like you to sketch this particular line and then look into my suggestions. Well, definitely, we can look for y-intercept, right? And y-intercept is at y equals to minus 3. So I'm going to mark this point minus 3. And now I'll look into the slope, which is given to me as minus 4 over 3. So that means if I do a rise of minus 4 and run of 3, right, I should get my next point. But if I go down by 4, 1, 2, 3, I go out of the scale. Do you see that? And I do get a point, but which is kind of approximate and is kind of out of scale, but I've marked it there, right? So think about it. Minus 4 over 3 is same as 4 over minus 3. Think like this also. So you could have an equivalent point, which is, you can say, rise of plus 4, right? And run of minus 3 means left. So from here, go up 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and go left 3. 1, 2, 3. Makes sense? You can go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and left 3. 1, 2, and 1, 3. You see, we got the points all in a straight line. Perfect. So rise over run. Well, the numerator could be negative with positive denominator, or you could reverse it, getting your lines. You get the idea. So I hope you're getting the concept, right? So you be flexible in utilizing the information given to you. So now we are going to connect these points with a straight line as shown here and get our line. Is that clear to you? So this time we understood how when we are going out of scale, out of graph, we could actually reverse the technique, right? That is to say, make numerator as negative and denominator positive, or making numerator positive, denominator negative doesn't change the result. We still get the point, but on the other side of the axis. You get the idea. Perfect. So with that in mind, I think your concepts are absolutely clear. I like you to sketch another graph which is given to us as y equals to 4 over 5x. Now in this case, what is the y-intercept? Can you tell me? What is y-intercept? Well, if you see, it is plus 0, right? Nothing. So y-intercept is at the origin itself. So one of your critical points are at the origin. So slightly different example, but very useful. Perfect. Now let's go for the slope or the gradient, rise over run, which is given to us as 4 over 5, both positive. So we can go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get a point. And also we learned we could also do this as minus 4 over minus 5. That is also 4 over 5. Do you see that part? So we could go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we still have with these 3 points to connect, and connecting these will give us the graph of the given line. Perfect. As you see, this line goes through the origin, right? It's like a direct variation, right? Makes sense? So we have another type of example. So within these set of 5 equations, you see the variation which I have included for you. So every equation of line is a learning experience, and it helps you to understand the concepts much better. It is not the repetition of the same as you find in many places, correct? Well, in case you want to learn from me, you can always send an email on the address given. Now here is the last example for you. Looks absolutely simple. We need to sketch a line which is y equals to 3. Now what does that mean? Sometimes students get confused. Well, how do I do this? I know y equals to mx plus b, but y equals to 3 gives me a point which is 3. Is it a line? That is what students think. Well, y equals to 3 means for any value of x, the value of y is 3, right? So it means what? For any value of x, the y value is always 3. So that you can achieve only by drawing a horizontal line. Do you see that? So for any x value, the y value is 3. You get the idea, right? So it's a horizontal line. Perfect. So it is basically a horizontal line. You understand? So y equals to 3 is a horizontal line. And what is the slope of this line? Well, the slope m is actually equal to 0. So if m is 0, then this part of the equation it becomes 0. And what you're left with is y equals to b, right? So for every value of x, because then you will multiply by 0, you get 0 plus b. It is the 3y value, constant. So that is also a constant function. So I hope that is also a learning experience. This is a constant function. Let me introduce to you another important function at this stage, which is not a function actually, So we'll also introduce to you one more line, which is a vertical line. Can you tell me equation of a vertical line? Well, it is x equals to some x value. So in this case, if I say x equals to 3, there will be a vertical line going like this. You see that? So that becomes x equals to 3, a vertical line. So if we have only the x coordinate value, it means for all values of y, only x value of 3 works, right? So that becomes a vertical line. So with that, we end our lesson today on how do we graph the lines. Well, I hope you have learned from this. Feel free to write your comment, share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, it'd be great. Thanks for your time and all the best. You can always send an email on the address given to learn directly from me. Thank you. Bye.